make a little cherry blossom painting. So you'll have a wood block, you have some flowers, and we're gonna transform it into a cherry blossom. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna just paint our wood block. I'm gonna move it. We're gonna paint it with that light blue. And you're gonna paint the edges and the front. So once you have it painted blue, you could wash your paintbrush. And I'm just gonna add some like white streaks in my background as well. So with this, we kind of go in with the illusion that it's a tree branch. So my white streaks will hopefully look a little bit like clouds. So I'm just adding a little white streak. Looks good, so I'm going to leave that like that, and then I'm going to put that aside to dry, and while that's drying I'm going to paint my little flowers. So my flowers are going to get a little bit of white and a little bit of red to make pink. So what I'm going to do is in the cap of my red paint, I'm just going to add a bit of, stir around that white, and you could add a little bit of white into that cap. And this is going to be a pink, and I'm going to start painting my flowers pink. They're going to be pink, and then we're going to add red to them, trying to get them to look like cherry blossoms. Cherry blossoms have like these white and pink flowers. They usually bloom around April, May, April usually. And they have a big festival. They have one in Japan, and they also have one in Washington, D.C. All right, so that looks good to me. So I'm just going to take a little bit of paint off my brush. I'm not even going to wash it. I'm going to stir around my red. And just to the edges of each flower, I'm just going to add a little red. Could hardly see it, it's going to blend. Just add a little more red to the edges of each petal, and I'm just bringing it in. I'm going to stir up that red really well. Dip the back of your paintbrush in the red. You're going to make a bunch of red dots right in the center of each flower. Once I have finished with my red, I'm going to wipe it on my paper towel, and then I'm going to mix around my white. Just make sure you have a clean brush. Mix around my white, And I'm gonna do the same thing and put some white on top of those flowers. Just in the middle. If you have a big glob of paint, you can kind of use your finger and go in there. You just don't want big globs because then it's never gonna dry. So then I have my flowers. I'm gonna let those dry. And we could go back to our little wood block. So I have my wood block finished. It's dry. So I'm gonna wash my brush. And to make my tree, I'm just gonna take a little bit of white and I'm just gonna make like almost a circle in white. And then I'm gonna go in with a little red, kind of mix it all together, and I'm just gonna dab. And it's gonna make like a pink tree. So I'm dabbing with a little bit of red on my brush. There's some white on my brush as well. Dabbing it gives it a good texture. After I dab it, I'm gonna wash my paintbrush. And what we can do is we're gonna add a tree trunk. So from the bottom of I'm just gonna connect our little pink poof to the bottom of my wood block, and then I'm just gonna make it look like a tree trunk. So I'm gonna make it a little wider on the bottom, a little fuller on top, a little skinnier on top. That looks good to me. I'm gonna go back, add a little more pink on there. Add a little more white. All right. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open my green. Stir around that green. And what you could do is you could put some green grass on the bottom. Just a little grass goes a long way. And I always start from the bottom and I just bring it up a little bit. So now we're going to let our little painting dry, and we'll let our little flowers dry, and then we're going to add our flowers on top of our painting. So my flowers are mostly dry and my tree is pretty much dry. So what I'm just going to do is you could use any glue that you have, and you're just going to glue the flowers on top of the tree. You can glue them anywhere you like. Just a little glue goes a long way. And once your flowers are glued, you're just gonna let this dry for a while, and then you could hang it up in your room or hang it for a nice little spring decoration. I hope you guys had fun painting with me, and have a good day.